Then came the second shock. Someone else in the crowd knew the truth. A distant cousin, wide-eyed and trembling, whispered something that sent chills down the spine of those who heard it. This wasn't just about an engagement or jealousy. This had been building for years. A hidden grudge, a secret betrayal from the past, something the bride-to-be had no idea about. As she lay there in pain, struggling to process what had just happened, one question burned in her mind. How long had her best friend been waiting for this moment? And what had she done to deserve it? The truth was about to come out, and it would be more devastating than anyone could have imagined. As the sirens wailed in the distance, the weight of the truth finally came crashing down. The whispers grew louder, pieces of the past unraveling one by one. It wasn't just about jealousy or bitterness, it was about revenge. Years ago, long before the engagement, a betrayal had taken place, one the bride-to-be had long forgotten, but her best friend never did. It turned out they had both loved the same man once. A man who had chosen one and left the other heartbroken. The pain had festered, buried beneath years of forced smiles and unspoken resentment. And when the engagement was announced, it wasn't just jealousy, it was the final straw. She had waited for this moment, convinced that taking away her friend's happiness would finally ease her own pain. But just as she thought she had won, the final twist came. The cousin who had whispered the truth revealed something even more shocking. The man they had both loved had played them against each other, lying to both, leaving scars neither of them saw until it was too late. As the police arrived, as the crowd murmured in disbelief, the best friend's face crumbled. She had spent years chasing revenge, only to realize too late that she had been a victim all along. As the night ended, the weight of everything settled in. The bride-to-be, though shaken and in pain, realized the truth. She had never truly known the person she had called her best friend. The betrayal ran deeper than she could have ever imagined. But in the end, was it really about her? Or had they both been caught in a web of deception spun long ago? As the police took her former friend away, there was no more anger in her eyes, only emptiness. Revenge hadn't healed her. It had only left her with nothing. The past couldn't be undone, and the damage was irreversible. But as the bride-to-be looked around at the people still by her side, she knew one thing: true love and friendship could never be built on resentment. Her life would never be the same, but this wasn't the end. It was a new beginning, one where she chose to leave the past behind and step into a future free from hidden grudges. It was supposed to be the happiest day of her life, the day she had dreamed of since she was a little girl. Dressed in a stunning white gown, surrounded by friends and family, she was ready to say yes to forever. But in a split second, everything changed. A scream pierced the air. Guests turned in shock, and there she was, her face, her dreams, her future, ruined in an instant. What could make a friend do something so cruel? Jealousy, rage, or was there something deeper hidden beneath the surface? Tonight, we uncover the shocking story of betrayal that turned a moment of joy into a lifetime of pain. Who was the woman behind this act? What drove her to such an extreme? And most importantly, could this have been prevented? Stay with us as we dive into a story that will leave you questioning just how well you really know your friends. It all started with friendship, or at least that's what she thought. For years, they had been inseparable, sharing secrets, dreams, and struggles. From late-night talks to celebrating each other's wins, they were like sisters. But somewhere along the way, something changed. Maybe it was the way people admired her, the way happiness seemed to follow her wherever she went. Maybe it was the engagement itself, a moment that should have been about love, but instead stirred something dark in her best friend's heart. Leading up to the big day, the signs were there, hidden in small moments. The forced smiles, the odd comments, the way her friend's energy shifted whenever wedding plans were mentioned. Was it jealousy? Resentment? Or was there a past grudge that had never truly been forgiven? No one suspected a thing. Not until the unthinkable happened, and it was too late to turn back. In the weeks before the engagement, small cracks in their friendship had started to show, but she brushed them off. After all, They had been through so much together. Why would anything change now? But looking back, the warning signs were clear. The strange silences, the backhanded compliments, the way her friend's eyes lingered a little too long whenever she talked about her fiancé. At first, it seemed like harmless envy, the kind anyone might feel when watching someone else's life fall perfectly into place. But this wasn't just envy. It was something much deeper, something dangerous. People whispered that she had always been the jealous type, always wanting what others had. But no one ever thought she would act on it. No one saw the storm that was brewing inside her. Was it really just about the engagement? Or was there something else, something unspoken, that had been building for years? The betrayal didn't happen overnight. It had been waiting, growing, until the perfect moment to strike. The engagement party was breathtaking, twinkling lights, music in the air, laughter filling the room. She stood at the center of it all, glowing with happiness, unaware that someone close to her was watching, heart pounding, hands trembling. The weight of her own emotions had become too much to bear. As she smiled and celebrated, her best friend stood in the background, eyes dark with something unreadable. Moments before everything changed, there was one final chance to stop it. A pause, a hesitation, a deep breath. But by then, the resentment had already taken over. A twisted mix of pain and anger, years of bottled-up emotions now demanding release. Then, everything blurred into chaos, a gasp, a scream, guests frozen in shock. And there she was, her joy shattered, her world turned upside down in an instant. But why? What truly pushed her best friend to this breaking point? The answer was far more complicated than anyone could have imagined. As the room filled with chaos, people rushed to help, voices overlapping in confusion and panic. But amid the screaming and shock, one thing became clear. This wasn't just a moment of jealousy gone too far. There was something deeper, something planned. Her so-called best friend didn't look horrified or regretful. She looked satisfied, almost as if she had been waiting for this moment.